Test Drive Unlimited has been out for a little over a month now, and we're making steady progress here on the channel. There's ups and downs with the game, as we already know. There's some favoured races, some favourite cars, and some very disliked features within the game. But with the steady progress, we're advancing to the higher end of progression, I think is best to say, unlocking supercars. But today we are going to unlock hypercars. Before we do get into hypercars, we're going to come over here to Urban Cavalcade, and I think this might be the best race in the game for supercars. Maybe an unpopular opinion, guys. Let me know if you've tried out Urban Arcade yet, and let me know your best time. I haven't set a great time on this one as of yet, but I thoroughly enjoy this as a track in HYPERCARS so far. A couple of runs out in the R8 Decennium, but the tight, twisty turns, the tight nature with also some open aspects to this track, I think has been great so far. So yeah, we're in HYPERCARS here for this one. A couple of tight corners to start us off. Uphill left, we do clip that inside left curb, pushes across the track. Then this little section here is always tight, and this car here always spawns. I have done this race a few times, but there's always a car that spawns here, and there's always a car that spawns out of that little junction just there, and it does end up creating a bit of difficulty with the track. But if you've got a really well balanced supercar, like I've spent a lot of time here tweaking and tuning the balance here for the Huracan, and I do feel it's pretty much up there. I don't think there's much more I can do to this one to get it you know, more stable, more well balanced on the track, or on the roads as it is in this game, losing the back end slightly there by clipping those curbs. And I do actually quite like that as an aspect, that clipping curbs and obstacles does unsettle the car. It is a nice feature. Just managing to miss the bicycle and that left-hander just there. We can see, yes, we do have a slight issue, handbrake turn into this left. We do have a slight issue, yes, with the AI not being as competitive. We all know about the issues in this game. I don't want to start off this video being doom and gloom. I want to talk about the bonuses of this game, the perks, you know, being able to now tune the cars, finding that in the menus, balancing these cars to our driving ability. I think has been, you know, fantastic for me to find. Perhaps driving not up to scratch as of yet for today's first race, but the focus has been largely on the negatives for Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, and I don't want that to be the case just yet. I want to focus in on those positives, and this race in particular, Urban Cavalcade, I think has been absolutely fantastic to find. Really enjoy doing it in the supercars, so guys, do let me know if you have tried it as of yet. But like we can see, the Huracan here, far more than competitive. You know, we've absolutely lost the AI coming down into this right-hander where there will be a car spawning here every single time, and I end up clipping it. I need to get a bit wider coming through that section to get a clean run up the hill here. And as we do come up to this next turn, you guys know I've had so many nightmares in the previous supercar videos with this turn here in particular, where the AI just dive bomb you time and time again. But we managed to negotiate it without any AI, with no difficulty in today's race. Nice straight ahead of us, and again another tight right-hander coming up ahead as we lose a frame rate just there. Apologies on that one. Feels like we could probably cut through that gas station, petrol station just there, but we don't. Another right-hander here, nice little tight section. Luckily the bushes, the shrubbery there, not slowing us down all too much. Left-hander cut across the track here, missed that barrier on the left-hand side, save a couple of seconds on this one. And I think this might be a future video coming up, guys, that we try to set a target for this one, whether it's 3 minutes, 3 minutes 15, whatever it may be. But that may be a target coming up. How quickly can we get through this track? We do a 3:08 for today's outing. But like I mentioned on the intro, we are going to progress a little bit further here. We've ranked through rank 50, we've achieved that, and we're now going to venture into the world of hypercars. One that I've been a bit tentative with. I don't know if I'm ready for hypercars in this game. First of all, the Bugatti Veyron SS. I think we've all got to try the SS at some point. Legendary car, it really is. How's it going to sound for us? Typical, as beastly as the Bugatti Veyron really is. It's interesting, and I do think that this will be the car of choice. Not many that I have in the back of the mind that I do want to drive in game. The Bugatti Veyron definitely has been up there. Now, of course, we're a bit limited. We don't have the budget, the 15-16 million coin budget to go for the best or the biggest, the most expensive hypercar. We are doing this on a budget sub 6 million or maybe even sub 7 million, I think it is. So what hypercar can we get into on a budget? We can see the Bugatti Veyron is unbelievably fast, absolutely no surprise. Getting up to 200 miles per hour, absolutely no problem, and it does feel quite tactile whilst trying to negotiate around street obstacles, other cars on track. The next up we want to try out is the Centurion. I can't actually say this one, the Lamborghini Centurion. We did try it previously on a little test drive to see what it was all about, and it does sound fantastic. It also handles very well, but is it up there with the Bugatti Veyron? For acceleration, it most definitely is not, but for noise, could the noise factor sway the decision here to jump into the Lamborghini? We already know in this corner with the Aventador versus Huracan video I did previously, the Lamborghinis don't stop coming down into that corner, and the same applies here for the Centurion. It really didn't stop all too well. But from a noise factor, typical Lamborghini noise, it does sound absolutely sensational. Could that be, you know, deciding or swaying the vote for the choice of hypercar today? Moving over next to a McLaren. Now, it was never really on the radar, but I wanted to try it because McLarens have a different bit of a sound to the rest of the hypercars. They sound a bit more like a real car, essentially. We obviously know hypercars, you know, they're things you used to have on the wall as a kid and stuff, pictures on the wall. The McLaren typically sounds like a real car, if that makes any sense, and it is one I wanted to try. But like we can see, in terms of power acceleration, it really is lacking behind the likes of the Veyron SS and the Lamborghini so far. Not yet reaching 200 miles an hour, and we probably would be well over 200 in the Bugatti by now. Moving over next to probably one of the most interesting cars in the game, the Aston Martin Valkyrie here. It looks absolutely bonkers, and I think I've only actually used this in one game previously in Forza. Now already it looks like a fundamental race car. It's got the big wing, all the big diffuser on the back of it, actually handles the air quite well, handles magnificently. Yes, it's perhaps lacking a bit of acceleration, maybe even a bit of top end, but it sounds fantastic, and we can already see it sticks to the road like nothing else, probably like nothing else in game. So maybe the handling factor of the Valkyrie here, or the Vulcan, whatever it is it's called, I've actually forgotten, I don't know why, that might be the deciding vote, hitting 200 miles an hour in 6th gear. Lastly, we're going to try out the 918, the Porsche, and this one here's a little bit different. It's of course a hybrid, and a hybrid is something I haven't used in game just yet. Now, I'm a big Porsche fan, I do like Porsche as a car. I think on the radar for myself is maybe a 718 Cayman for the road for myself to use. I really do like Porsches, and it does, once again, it sounds good. It actually sounds like a real car. It's got really good noises behind it, but having that hybrid assist, the KERS system in the 918, could that be the deciding factor? Could that sway me over to use this? It really is a huge decision. It's the vast amount of coins that we have already accumulated in the game is going to go towards buying the hypercar for the hypercar races. It's going to be a tough decision. Let me know what car you guys have taken for hypercar. It's going to be interesting just to see where everybody, you know, what direction everybody has went. I know a lot of people have, of course, went with Bugatti. You know, it's a very easy decision to go with Bugatti. They're probably the fastest car in game. I don't know, apologies, not in game. We know there's obviously the issue with the 812 Superfast, how quick they can make that one go. But in terms of the hypercar, the Bugatti is just ridiculous, and I would understand many people going with that. But for me, so far, it's an incredibly tough decision, but a decision that has to be made now. And the decision is the Porsche 918, and it's largely due to me being, you know, biased towards Porsche, but also that hybrid assist. I want to see how the KERS system works in game, how powerful it can be. The Porsche seems very capable, pretty well balanced, good acceleration, fairly decent top end, fantastic handling, but we have went over, threw everything at this one, tuned it to the moon. It sounds ridiculous already. This might be a lot of fun. Absolutely bonkers off the line. Obviously it's night time, so it's soaking wet. We're probably not going to get much traction at all, but this thing's absolutely bonkers already. Back end kicking out like no one's business. Of course, slick tyres. Was it well over 1,000 horsepower? It's absolutely bonkers so far. So let's not waste any time. Let's push forward to this one, and let's get into the first race for the hypercars. And it is a soaking wet race. Probably not the best one to get into. I don't think we're going to do fantastically well. We can already see the struggles that we did just have in Hypercar after upgrading it. But we'll give it a try, guys. We'll see how we do manage here. Launching off the line reasonably well, considering how wet it really is. Coming into the first turn very cautiously, I think is the best way to put this one. Back end already sliding around on us, and yep, we're completely round. I don't think I've even got slick tyres fitted at this point. I might have to go back and check. But we're struggling already. Hypercars, we're not off to a good start, unfortunately. Back end losing it once again. Struggling to get any power down coming around any actual corner here. As soon as we touch on that throttle of the back end, we can see stepping round on us. But as we do start to straighten up, we are powering down here and catching up with the AI. We only just missed that barrier on the right hand side, taking out the railings and taking out, you know, the vast majority of the race. We miss a checkpoint. We're off to a bad start today, guys. Things will hopefully get better. We are firmly in last place, but we'll persist, we'll push on, and we'll see what kind of progress we can make in this soaking wet race. Quite disappointed with that one. I would like this to be a dry race. I think, you know, the weather aspect of it, oh, we totally lose the back end there. It's not a good race, guys. The weather aspect of some of these races, you know, is entertaining. We do have to address that, you know, not every race can be a dry race. But in this car in particular, in a hypertrack race, a hypercar race rather, I would rather this was just a dry race. Let us enjoy it. It's probably just too much effort in the Porsche here. We're firmly in last place. We'll fast forward to the end. It doesn't look like we're going to make all too much progress, guys. We'll fast forward, we'll get this race finished with, and hopefully push on with a dry race in the Porsche. So with about 7% left to go, I've had an absolute mare with this race. Have not enjoyed it whatsoever. Perhaps it's the slick tyres that may be fitted. I've just not managed to control the Porsche around this circuit. Yeah, very difficult race for myself. We'll push on. We do take 8th place. We do come last. We don't always come first on the channel. Move on to the second race. We do now have a dry race. Some spectacular cars on this circuit with us. And interestingly, side by side with another Porsche. Let's see how we can manage to launch this one off the line. Neck and neck with the Porsche. It seems that we've got the power down slightly better. Into turn one, the Porsche does take turn one ahead of us. Down the hill, the Porsche ahead, losing the back end. We managed to be a bit more stable, so it does seem we perhaps got a little bit more traction around those high speeds. Stick it down the inside. Can we take the Porsche? We don't. Cut back on it. We do clip the ball. We do lose a bit of momentum, and the Porsche does pull away from us. And it looks like it's trying to check out as we do lose the back end, clipping that outside curb. Down into this one. Tentative through it. We have slid off this track before. This is the second time I've done this race. On that turn in particular, it did lock up and go straight across the track. Down the hill here, we do manage to miss the barrier on the right hand side. Now we can see on these dry circuits with the slick tyres, the Porsche is actually fairly capable. But at this point here, we have run out of cares, and we do lose a lot of the advantage of the Porsche with its ridiculous acceleration. I think that's maybe a McLaren or a Ford GT on our back end there, but we are still pulling away. We are kind of driving defensively across the track. They're stopping the AI passing us through that little tight section. With Kers now mostly recharged, we slow down again, get the braking on. Kers now fully recharged, we can launch it from here and most likely pull away from the AI. With Kers fully in deployment, we are having ridiculous amounts of acceleration there, but Kers now running out as we do come into a heavy braking zone, hopefully recover all of that energy recovery system there. And we have the AI spinning behind us on track, which is always good. We can continue to progress through this one. A nice straight coming up. Kers then, this is actually quite an interesting one with the Porsche. A couple of times so far in these races, without big long straights, we've ran out of kinetic energy. And once again, we have just ran out, and we can see just how much that is affecting the acceleration here of the Porsche. Struggling to get over 170 miles per hour with obviously the limited class we have here. Just missing that barrier which the AI love to catch, crossing the line with no more energy to recover, to boost the acceleration there. Do finish off in second, that other Porsche of course blasting away from us. So with Kers being the hot topic, we'll come over to the oval track here, you know, we'll see how much that is going to be a hindrance for the Porsche here. Again, starting off in first, we should get a fantastic launch off the line, leave most of the AI, which we do. Energy now being deployed, cutting off the nose of the AI that tried to cut up the inside of us there. On the outside, it does seem like there's a, oh, is that an Apollo trying to pass us there? Down the straight, and already we have ran out of cares. So yes, it's good having this hybrid in the game, but we're going to have to be very tactful with the races that we do choose here. This is going to be a big hindrance for this one, and I might have made a huge mistake in this game. The Bugatti might just have been the way for me to go. It was really a big toss-up between the Bugatti and the 918. I wanted to try the 918 for that cares. We can already see we're now essentially doing the rest of this race with no kinetic energy recovery system. Maybe try to recover some through this corner in particular, milking the brakes a little just to regain a little bit of kinetic energy, but it's really not being beneficial, already losing out there. So perhaps I've made a huge mistake taking the Porsche, running out of kinetic energy recovery system, and we're going to have a big struggle because we've got a lot of straights here, we've got a lot of fast cars. We're kind of reigning in first place, so hopefully they aren't actually that well tuned and we may be able to catch them, but as it currently sits, no cares, a lack of acceleration, that's the big bonus to driving the Porsche here, and we're struggling. Maybe the Bugatti, oh wow, we do just clip off the AI's front end there. It's probably not going to last all too long. It's just cut right on the underside of us, and that's probably second place also gone. It might be a fight here to carry on and catch a podium on this oval track. Fourth lap, 2 laps to go. Yeah, we might have been a big issue here. We do manage just to re-overtake there. Don't know how long it's going to last because, as we can see, we've got no energy to use. I feel like the Bugatti might actually have been the car we should have taken. Still got a couple of million in the bank, maybe do a bit more advancement with some of the races and go back and pick up that Bugatti Veyron SS. Purely from a handling aspect, you know, the Veyron felt fantastic. We obviously know it's probably one of the fastest hypercars in game. With a lot of tuning, it will be ridiculous, so we might have to go back there and pick up the Bugatti Veyron. But as it is right now, we've got the Porsche, we are holding on to third place. It doesn't seem like there's any other AI behind us trying to fight out there for second, but it looks like second place is gone. Probably one big sweeping corner left for us, and that will be us all done and dusted. Tried to recover some energy through here, we don't manage to recover any at all, not using enough brakes to recover it, so we do cross the line, we do take out third place, and we do have a big issue with the Porsche. Move on to the fourth race for today. Again, a slightly damp track here, very interesting cars once again, Chirons, Veyrons, Vulcans, more Porsches. Let's see how we get on with this one. Perhaps a little bit of a more tighter street circuit here. Second place, decent enough launch, but we can see it is very wet once again. I want some dry races. Please give us some dry races for the hypercars. The AI kind of tripping up there, slowing down for whatever reason, and we do run at the back of another AI car which is stuck behind traffic for some reason. We drive straight up the back of them, but we do take over first place. We do just miss that barrier on the right hand side, coming through a little bit of a tight section here. We outbrake ourselves, hit the barrier on the left. Nice little tight left-hander here, a bit more tactile through there. We do manage to keep it out of the wall, and we do keep first place. Pulling away from the AI now, we can get the power down. We can see just how quick this can be down the motorway straight, or the highway straight, and see how quickly we run out of energy. As we are just about to come off, it seems, no, we're still on the freeway, and we have now run out of energy. 180 miles per hour, fourth gear, and we're losing. The big advantage that the Porsche has here is that kinetic energy recovery system. Yeah, we have made a big mistake, guys. Fundamentally, for races, that kinetic energy running out far too quickly here with the Porsche. Recovering it into the braking zones, however, we have fully recovered cares, and we can now use that to our advantage. Nice tight street section here, losing the back end ever so slightly, but we do catch it. Tight right-hander here, take out those barriers, slows down a little bit to our advantage. Another tight right-hander coming up. Try to cut this one a little bit, and we do overextend. The unstableness over the curbs, I don't mind it. That's what I would like to see in the game. I don't want everything to be a flat surface. We do hit an AITT crossing in front of us. A lot of a lot of street traffic in this race. Not a bad thing. Stuff we have to negotiate as we almost roll it coming up the hill into that left-hander downhill, just missing the taxi. Tight right-hander here, just cut it ever so slightly, overextend over the track, open up the steering. We do lose the back end a little bit here, but we have fully recovered our energy, which is good for the next section coming up. Round this tight right-hander, pin it fast as we can, across the line, get that recovery system fully deployed, and we do finally take a first place in the hypercar races. So largely, what can we take from this? The Porsche is fantastic. It's frighteningly quick. but the kinetic energy recovery system is a hindrance for it on longer straights. Yes, it recovers it very well, like we can see right now. This is the fully tuned version of it that we can now use on road, and it is blindingly quick. Perhaps using the full capabilities of it, we have more energy to store, more energy to use, and this thing is frighteningly quick. With everything thrown at it, it handles fantastically well. Powerful. But the issue I've got with today is finding those hypercar races. Now, ironically, the first 3 races I do come across here on the map are all hypercar races. But what I would like to see here is each race type being colour coded to the car class. That for me would be a fantastic touch, easier to find the races. I've spent so much time going through the map trying to find the races that I might want to get into. So that there is one thing I would like to change. But guys, that's the video for today for the hypercars. A bit of a messy one for today, one I do need to improve on, but guys, let me know what hypercar you guys have chosen. What is the OP hypercar for TDU SC? I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Tune in next week for more updates on Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown.